many times is the reality that we are not well organized, especially many of us who are or who could consider themselves progressive. The reality, and we might shy away from it, is that ultimately it's Zionists who have actually won. And I state this because if you look at the elections, and in fact, if you look at all the institutions which have the power to define, the people who define this, who mainly fund these institutions, are mainly Zionists who put a lot of their money, besides the Americans, besides the British. Um, the hard fact is that the Oppenheimer family and the Menels and others have put a lot of money in South African politics, and consistently we seem to forget that. We seem to forget that our elections and our democracy and everything else, and everything else, as I said, that has the power to define, it has been bought. So these are realities that we need to come to terms with, and we can sit and mourn. But as I initially said, all of us who see ourselves as the left progressive, we need to just come to terms that we are not actually doing enough uh, to contest and confront the status quo. So what you are seeing now, we might call it a facade, but what you are seeing is a group of people who are well organized, who are well funded, and who are well disciplined. And until we also decide that we need to contest the establishment at an equal front, then I think we will continuously have these discussions where we mourn, where we analyze. And I'm hoping that in the final analysis, when we're done here, what will be key is what needs to be done. What do we actually have to do in order for us um, to do things differently? And it might also be that we have an idea of what needs to be done, but we actually don't know how to do it. So I think that's where I'll start, and then as the panelists and as the discussions go along, I'll make further input. But I think we could do better, and the large aspect of it is being able to mobilize the way that these guys have been mobilizing. Because what is happening is not even new. They've been doing this for centuries. These guys have perfected the art of politics, and we are far behind. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Papano. And let's bring in Professor Resgan Maharaj. Now, Prof, just your take against what Papano has been saying and talking about this notion of the government of national unity. I alluded to this, talking about a government of conflicting ideologies, opposing ideologies, and also, when one looks at the manifestos of many of these parties now, they've all come together. And just your thoughts, because there are skeptics that are saying that this is a government that will not last the full 5-year term.
So thanks very much, Inayat, and also the comrades that are participating in this panel itself. Yeah. So what the comrade Pasha has raised, I think, is important for us to recognize, but also, if you don't mind, for us to take a little step back and recognize where we are in a kind of historical process as well. It's important for us noting that we are within a global capitalist system itself. Insofar as South Africa is one of the members of this world system, the function of a government in all capitalist society is to act as the executive committee of the ruling class. And as such, we should not be surprised in terms of what we are seeing being performed in front of us. So what I meant by taking that step just a little bit back is to also remember where we've come from. So the legacies of colonialism, of imperialism, of racial capitalism, of apartheid itself was brought to its end by the peoples of South Africa itself. So in 1994, we embark on a process where the object was to enhance or create a democratic society. There were simple tasks, so I'm not making it overcomplicated in yet. So I'll just reduce it to basically two main tasks. First one was to recognize and redress the legacies of apartheid itself, which stem from racial capitalism as its base. The second part was to advance a reconstruction and development program for all on the basis of enhanced and expanded productive capacities, capabilities, and competences that would allow us to advance beyond what racial capitalism offered us. 3 decades later, we confronted, as you correctly point out, to this version of what's being called a government of national unity. I think we need to be posing questions about governance under our current circumstances. And our current circumstances are extremely dire. We're in a world that's fraught not just with conflict, but with violence being generated continuously and people being exterminated. We are living through a period of genocide. At the same time, we have, as a state, seen and witnessed the hollowing out and corporate capture of that state itself. So it's within that framing of a context that I would really encourage our discussion about this government of national unity. And towards that end, I think it's important to remind all of us, those that participated in the election, placed a vote for a particular party. I did not see on the ballot sheet, or anyone else that participated shared with me, a block that said Government of National Unity. So towards that end, we need to be quite careful in conferring power to this structure that has been established in the form in which it has. We need to remain vigilant about the erosion of democracy we see taking place in front of us, where deals are being struck between political parties which may not even have constituency support, yet are elevated to positions of control over portfolios that affect us all. At the same time, we are not in any way being given a sense of confidence in the types of individuals that are being put forward, because none of this speaks to real issues confronting people. These are about who will occupy positions of power, but without a sense of what that power will be utilized for. So, Elliot, I hope these comments contribute to our discussion, but I really want us to shift away from talking about personalities, etc., and really confront the issue, the dire circumstances facing the majority of people in South Africa, in Southern Africa, on the African continent, the global South as a whole, as we confront a decaying, a decrepit collective West in decline significantly and pulling down many of other parts of the world with it. That's really where I think it's important to recognize the need for sovereignty and us ensuring a democracy for South Africa.